Hello, everyone. Satsanga Astrology again. I am here today to speak about the Sagittarius solar eclipse. It's happening December 4th, 2021. And I will tell you all my ideas about it and the aspects and what you can expect. So get ready. I will share with you the chart and some other resources I found. So if you like my videos, if you like my content, please subscribe, hit the bell so you can be notified every time I post a video. And don't hesitate to make comments or contact me with questions. So thank you. And I will now share the chart. So I will start explaining how I see this solar eclipse. So first of all, this solar eclipse is 12 degrees Sagittarius, 22 minutes. And it is the last eclipse in the axis of the nodal axis of Gemini Sagittarius. So next eclipse will be in April, and it will already happen in with the nodes in Scorpio and Taurus. So we can say that we are closing the cycle Gemini Sagittarius and the karmic and dharmic lessons that we have been learning for the last year and a half, 18 months. So you probably already know in your personal life what this was referring to. Now, eclipses and the nodal axis especially the nodal axis, doesn't express itself as the planets do. So the nodal axis is more perceived at the soul level in a very subtle way, and it refers to your evolutionary process, right? The development of your soul. So at that level, you have been gaining some experiences through the North Node in Gemini, and leaving behind some things and especially beliefs and ethics and beliefs mainly, and ideas also that are no longer useful for you in the house where Sagittarius falls. So some things in that house occupied by Sagittarius are now so useless for your personal life that you have to leave them behind. You're starting a new stage in your evolution that brings you more through information, data, and practical thinking, right? And the house occupied by Gemini. And this is what this eclipse is all about, in fact. So you're starting anew, right? Because it is a new moon, but at the same time, on the south node, you are leaving behind things, beliefs, and other things that I'm going to mention in detail, so you have an idea. And these things could be personal. It could be also in the collective. right? Because as a collective, we are also leaving these things behind. For example, Sagittarius is the vision of the future, the way we expand, especially spiritually, right? So we may let go of certain vision of the future that that you have in that specific house occupied by Sagittarius. And also ideas about travel long distance, ideologies. You are dropping also cultural biases, even segregations, or for example, cultural segregations, like ideas about racism and different cultural identities, as well as religion and religious ideas and identities. It is possible that you also evolve in your belief system, and also that you leave behind prejudices, for example, about religion. That it's also possible that you leave behind unrealistic optimism, you know, in that house. Suppose that it is the house of your partner, right? The seventh house, right? You're leaving behind certain assumptions that you have about your partner, for example. Also, it could be that you leave behind financial extravagance and, you know, going overboard, indulgences, and especially the emotional investment in those things, because it is the moon after all. And cultural conditionings, that are no longer valid, unwise speculation, too much ambition, you know, wanting to do a lot, wanting to have a lot of things. And again, if you remember my video of the Taurus lunar eclipse, I spoke about Vesta, and Vesta was also conjunct the previous eclipse, and now you have it there together with this new moon eclipse as well. So I think the things that you keep sacred, that you believe that that you're very emotionally invested in, could be changing, right? You may leave behind that emotional investment and consecration, right, on those things. Also, because the sun is there, it could be that you leave behind some ego ideas, right, about yourself. It could be leaving behind self-aggrandizement, for example, narrow-mindedness, fanatical ideas, and also lack of sound and practical data, which is the opposite, the North Node in Gemini, which is calling for getting the right information, getting the data, the practical thinking, it's all about your lower mind, or the mind that is occupied with practical things, like the close environment, the people you see every day. It's more this nodal axis has been more leaving behind the global perspective, the including the the global vision of your life, right? Where you, for example, we used to buy international, right? From Amazon, you can buy things from anywhere in the world, etc. And now you have been called to come back to the local market, right? To the local perspective, how all those things that we were doing globally, and that expansive perspective is not working well anymore. And so now we need to come back to the practical. Right, when the pandemic hit, for example, there weren't any masks anywhere. I remember trying to buy just one packet, and there was none, right? Because we were always relying on China and other places of the world where we bought things. We used to buy things, and now we need to come back to the for practical purposes, right? We need to come back to the local economy. Well, those are some ideas. At the global and mundane level, it could be leaving behind exactly the global trade and the focus on international affairs, and coming back to the local affairs, right? So what else? Oh, Jupiter being the ruler of this, or the dispositor of this eclipse, is in Aquarius. Aquarius could be the marketplace. So it could be also that the inflated marketplace, like it was before, producing and us consuming and consuming, right? It could be that we leave behind that kind of philosophy, right? Very Sagittarius. And something else, also, there could be the need to leave behind the problems of business administrations that are now that are causing havoc. So we need to leave behind the way that we were managing businesses before. Another thing is the blind faith in authorities, and the blind faith and all kinds of authorities, for example, science, right? Because Jupiter, again, is in Aquarius. So Aquarius is the sign that represents science, that represents the systems and networks of information. And we may need to take into account that the information that we are receiving through the media, through internet, it may not be too good. And we this may mean that we need to go again to Gemini, investigate, being curious about the data that is presented to us, and maybe it's not all truth, right? So remember that Sagittarius is the sign of truth, of morals and ethics and morality. And there could be also a global mundane, in mundane astrology, the tendency to not being so honest, right? And telling us things that are really not true. And also I read about some very horrific event in the Congress in the US where some lawmakers were decapitating someone in not in real life, but showing a puppet decapitated representing someone else. So this bluntly shows the lack of ethics and the decay in the morals of especially authorities, right? The sun is there as well. So there is this at some levels leaving behind the good morality in the things that there are true and sound, right? So unfortunately, it's very difficult to trust that kind of authorities, right? So other things that may happen is that we have a Mercury conjunct the eclipse. So let me see, Mercury can be announcing, and it's also, Mercury is also, let's see, Mercury is parallel to the moon, and parallel is an aspect of declination, meaning all this zodiac is the degrees in the zodiac are marks of longitude, right? It's all around the equator, or the the celestial equator, and is around the earth in longitude. Now declination is in latitude, meaning above or below the celestial equator. So for a planet to be parallel to another planet means a very strong conjunction. So in this case, Mercury is parallel to the moon. So there is an emotional announcement, or an emotional communication. And it could also be impulsive and aggressive, because we also have, let me see, I would like to get a new share and go back to the presentation here. So the sun and the moon at 12 degrees of Sagittarius are in the decan of Aries and the duad of Gemini, which means that they are also blended with the influence of Mars and Mercury, meaning that this announcement could be an announcement of conflict of some kind. I don't want to say war, but you know, nowadays there are several new kinds of war, right? There are not armed conflicts. There are more subreptitious, and there are more like underground. And so it could be a kind of aggression or conflict that is announced in some way. So also Venus is also parallel to the sun and the moon. And Venus is all about values, finances, right? What we attract, what we love. So I also wanted to point out, other than the duat and the deacon, the Sabian symbol from Dane Rudier is found in the astrology mandala, and it's about the 13 degrees Sagittarius. The karma of past actions as it affects opportunities presented by a new cycle. So this, I think, speaks volumes about this solar eclipse, right? That everything that we have done in the past is affecting the new cycle, for good or for bad, right? It depends on your choices, right? Because nothing is written in stone on the chart. Depending on the level of evolution of each person, you may be playing your music in different ways, right? So what else I wanted to say? Venus is also within orb of the conjunction with Pluto. And not only that, but Jupiter is semi-sextile. Let me go back to the chart. So here, on the chart, where is it? Here. Okay, so as you see here, Jupiter is almost exactly semi-sextile with Pluto. If you remember the three times Jupiter-Pluto conjunction of 2020 in Capricorn, and I spoke about that back then. It is all about changes in the power and the economy, and the also changes in the economic powers of government. So it may also refer to the changes in currency, or the changes in distribution of resources, as I mentioned before, and especially in the realm of the government, right? How the government is now in many places, many countries, is managing resources to help for this pandemic, to help the small business, to help people who are in dire needs, in dire straits, people who have been deeply affected by this pandemic with unemployment. So countries have gone in deep debt in order to provide for all the economic problems that people are experiencing. And that is shown because the semi-sextile between Jupiter and Pluto is like the first steps. For example, if you compare the cycle of Jupiter and Pluto with the cycle of the moon, right, it would be those 2-3 days when the moon starts barely showing a smile in the sky, right? So Jupiter is, in this sense, showing the first signs of what their cycle is all about. As I said, changes in the economy, how the governmental institutions manage and distributes the resources, etc. And especially talks about a big debt and big show of power, right? So I think that the communications by Jupiter will be all about love and money and values. So we also have a very interesting aspect between the moon and the sun and Jupiter, which is an aspect of 71.5 degrees, 72 degrees. And it's called a quintile. And this quintile is a very creative aspect, which means that whatever Jupiter is doing there, for example, creating new currency, creating new systems, social systems, right? And also it may mean the expansion of the ideology of the tribe, right? People who want to gather together in groups of like-minded people, you know, in order to make a project or make some economic progress or project. So that's one of the things that could be related to this creativity. And I think having Jupiter in the quintile to the sun and the moon is a very positive aspect. I think that could be the start of something really new in regards to the Sagittarius sign in the house where Sagittarius is in your chart. And for this information, I encourage you to not only consider your birth chart. I have been looking at my progress chart, which I have a Sagittarius rising, and the eclipse is on the ascendant, exactly. So I think my life could be really affected, my whole life, by this eclipse because of the progress chart. So you may consider the progress chart, you may consider the solar return chart for this year in the natal chart. So, and see where in those where the eclipse falls. And if there is any planet around the 12 degrees, just maximum 3 degrees orb. So meaning that from 12:22 to 15:22 or before 9 degrees before. So no, 9 degrees, 3 degrees before or 3 degrees after, one side or the other. And especially powerful are the conjunctions and oppositions, maybe. Squares could be affected, but not so strongly. Now, as I said, Jupiter also is manifesting the theme of the Jupiter-Pluto conjunction last year. And it could be restructuring of the economic structures of government. It could be related also to the air travel system and regulations, of course. And also new ways of trade, because Jupiter and Sagittarius are also involved in trade, especially international trade. So what else I wanted to tell you? Well, you know, Venus is there and it's out of bounds until December the 10th. Let me see, December the 10th or December the 7th. So it's out of bounds until December the 7th. So 3 more days after the eclipse, so meaning that Venus is out of bounds at the time of the eclipse. I wrote in my blog an article about Venus out of bound that you may, I put the link in the description below the video, the link of my my blog. So I encourage you to follow me there. On the right hand side a column, you find the followers. You can follow me there, and you can also request the notifications by email, and I will email you every time that I post a blog post there. So I am also posting almost every day in Facebook, Tumblr, MeWe, so you can follow me in those platforms as well. Oh, the other thing that I wanted to talk is that is important, in fact, and especially since the moon and the sun are in the duad, in the decan of Aries, ruled by Mars, is the fact that Mars is applying to a square to Jupiter. So Mars and Jupiter in square can mean very impulsive actions that go overboard, you know, and aggressions as well, aggressions that go, you know, when you blow things out of proportion, and if you get angry, for example, it explodes really badly. That's the personal effect. But at the mundane level, there could be, as I said, conflict. There could be Mercury may be voicing, you know, conflict and information that is blown out of proportion. So another thing that I would like to share with you is this. This December 4th, 3 and 4, depending on the time in your place. It happens at 2:34 a.m. But let's see, what I wanted to share with you is the Saros 152. This eclipse, you see it here, December 4, 2021. It happens at 7:34, the greatest eclipse, and UTC, I think, is the time. Anyways, this Saros family of eclipses have started in 1805, July 26. And as always, the family of eclipses carries over the theme of the first eclipse. And I took the time to do some research and find out some events that happened. I'm going to share with you also this information here. Let me see. Let me get rid of this. Okay, I went to Wikipedia and found this information. So apparently, July 26th, the eclipse happened in the morning. And by 9 p.m. UTC, the July 26, 1805, it was the Molise earthquake. It has been estimated 6.6 on the equivalent magnitude calculated from seismic intensity data and a maximum perceived intensity of 10 on the Mercalli intensity scale. You know what? 5,573 people died in that earthquake. It was, as you see here in the map, you see in Italy, and I think is the Campobasso, and not only the main earthquake, but the aftershocks as well. So see, and here this has the information of all the towns that were affected at that time, and you know, nearly complete destruction. Only 3 houses left standing, town completely destroyed, and so on and so forth. You can find it in Wikipedia. So here, Reino, 18 houses collapsed. Half the town was badly damaged. So I don't discard that the announcement Mercury is making is about some, you know, natural catastrophe as well. So I think that this eclipse may bring news that are not very welcome, and we need to, as I said, leave behind some things. It may be, if it is in your 4th house, it may be things that you need to leave behind about your family, about your house, or members of the family that you may separate from them for whatever reason. Or if it is in your 3rd house, it could be that you're moving neighborhoods, that you are going to live in another neighborhood, right? If it is in your 2nd house, well, you may say goodbye to some income, for example. If it is in the 6th house, you may be having to change the place of work, for example. And if it is the 7th house, it may be, as I said before, it could be some ideas you have about your partner that you need to renounce or let go, and your relationship will evolve. If it is your 10th house, right, it could be something that you were very used to in your career, and now you have a new way of doing things, and you need to leave behind certain aspects of your career. And some people may be completely changing the career, right, or the job they're doing. Maybe the boss is leaving, right? So I hope these ideas may have a certain level of guidance for you, but if you like more personal information, you can always contact me. I'm gonna show you my contact information, and as I said, I write the daily transits here in the blog satsang@astrology.blogspot.com, and I hope you can follow me there, and otherwise you can always contact me. Thank you for watching, and I hope to have you again and back in my channel, so please subscribe. Thank you. Bye.